From the back of a minivan to over 1 million square feet of distribution space, this is the untold story of a struggling mother who has and continues to inspire thousands while following her dreams. In 2013, Deanne Stidham launched LuLaRoe with a vision to help others succeed. That vision remains the same today. Set aside what you may have heard secondhand and hear the truth from the actual people whose lives have been impacted through LuLaRoe.
There's a core at this company that is so strong of people who just built this from nothing.
And their back bedroom just has these totes full of maxi skirts, just tons of maxi skirts, and they're all over the floor, all over the bed, and I was like, this is heavenly. So I'm talking to her in like the back room of our house. I'm whispering to Deanne on the phone. I Googled how to take a credit card on my phone at the pop-up. It was chaos, but I kind of thrive in chaos. It kept going up and up and up, and then all of a sudden it exploded.
By the time I hung up the phone, I was like, okay, babe, so we need $2,000 and we're gonna sell some maxi skirts.
I love sewing, absolutely love it. And I love being able to take a flat piece of fabric, cutting it out, putting it in a sewing machine, turning it right side out, putting it on a human body, and have them go, oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. And it wasn't until I was at a swap meet one day, and I think I had one kid on a hip, and I was pregnant, and a couple of kids in the stroller, and it was an early morning swap meet, and I remember walking to the open air market area where there typically is produce, and there was a guy there that had racks and racks and racks of little girls' dresses. And as I got closer, I thought, could it be right? Every sign above a rack said $10, and I went, okay, wait a minute, this can't be right. I was so excited, and I looked around and I thought, he needs more people here. And I thought, well, I'm not gonna make a big deal about it. I got out my $40. I bought 4 dresses for each of my girls. And I get home and my brain starts going over and over and over. What could I do? What could I do? And I had this idea. What if I went and asked him if he would come to my house? I would invite all my friends over. I brought it to his attention. I was shaking, I was so nervous. I thought, okay, if you come to my house, and then maybe if we sell a bunch of stuff, maybe I can get a couple of dresses for free. And he said, oh, okay, that'd be great. We set up the date. I created a little flyer, and I had spent tons of time. I left messages on phones, answering machines. I told them, bring their friends, bring their cousins, bring everybody. It's open to as many people as you want to bring. And this is a one chance opportunity for them to come and get dresses at $10. Seriously, I'm not kidding you. There was no parking for blocks and blocks and blocks around. And I think by the end of that day, for about 3 hours, we sold over 300 little girls' dresses. And I said, okay, I think that's everybody. And I was so nervous. And he said, Deanne, you can take as many dresses as you want. And I said, well, here is the list of all the names of all the people that want to do parties. And he said, oh no, I do not want to do that. And I'm thinking, this is not that hard. It's really fun. And I didn't say anything. I was a little taken back. And he said, this is not my thing. I'll tell you what, I'll give you the profit to all these dresses that you just sold, and I'll let you start buying your own dresses. And all of a sudden, my eyes, like the cartoon, all I could think of is, okay, I could do this business if I take my kids with me. It's a real kid-friendly business. And I started to book pop-ups. We call them dress parties because they were only little girls' dresses. So I called them, come to the dress party. I'm having a dress party.
Sabrina Langford is one of the original 10 LuLaRoe retailers in the country.
In October of 2001, I met Deanne at a little girl's dress party. And starting in February of 2002, this is what we did. Every spring, February and October, I would actually clean out my garage. It would make us clean out the garage. Deanne, thank you so much. We would clean it all out, empty it down to literally the fridge, the freezer, and then my husband's workbench, and we would set it up for dresses. Because if I had done my homework right, Deanne would pull up about 8:30 on a Monday morning, and she would pull out 1,000 little girls' dresses. Really, really similar to a lot of these, depending on the season. She would always put on white gloves and a big smile on her face and had bright pink lipstick, and it was perfect. And we would work and set up. This is the very first LuLaRoe event ever in Henderson, Nevada at a Hampton Inn in 2013. First Julia, first Azure, and women came from all over Women would drive a half an hour or 45 minutes just to get here because they knew we were always the first stop with the dress lady.
So I did dress parties for a little over 27 years. I did take a short break between adopting and the next time I started doing that. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years. I can't remember. It was in the middle of the summer, and Nicole had come into me. She said, "Mom, do you think you could take this skirt and make it to this size? And it has to have a yoga so that it can expand with me, stretchy enough, and of course I'm tall, so it needs to be long enough to dust the floor." And I thought, okay, I'll go get fabric. We went down to Los Angeles, cut out this maxi skirt based on her dimensions, made the skirt. She posted on Instagram. I'm thinking, what is Instagram? I never even knew what it was. And oh my goodness, she got a flood of text messages. "Do you think your mom would make me a skirt?" So I thought, okay, why not? I'll make maxi skirts. I had the time and the resources, and so I started to cut out skirts. And I had only cut out maybe 3. And I thought, oh my gosh. I reached out to Julia, my niece, who had done all the costumes for Yo Gabba Gabba, and I thought, I know she knows someone.
Julia Knapp is Deanne's niece and the inspiration behind the Julia dress. She has been with the company since the beginning.
So I was working in the film and television industry doing costume design, and Deanne came to me and she told me, I have this idea for a clothing line and I want to call it LuLaRoe. And she was looking for some help and some guidance. And so immediately I thought about my friend Jose.
One of my friends that I used to do work for was Julia Knapp. Then after a while, she mentioned that her aunt wanted to get a project going on, and Julia sent Deanne, her aunt, here. So and Deanne walked in with a maxi skirt that she wanted to perfect it and to make a newer pattern and with some fixes here and there. So we started with maybe with like, I think it was like 65 pieces. Then the next round was like about 200. And then the next one was about 300.
And I would go tell Jose, okay, this is what I want. And we would write a note as to how many skirts we could get out of each roll of fabric. And he would say, okay, tell me what you need. And it really wasn't until I really got out into the field of skirts and showing everybody the skirts that I really thought, oh, I've got to expand them. I need to cater to everybody that wanted these skirts.
Deanne was like, she wanted to do huge quantities and she wanted to make more and more and more. That she wanted to sell more and more and more, so
I decided I was gonna load up my van with all these maxi skirts, and I started calling all my past dress party ladies, and I said, I'm coming, just, first come, first serve, invite all your friends, and we're gonna have a maxi skirt party. And they go, okay, count me in, Deanne. And I had all these pop-ups scheduled, and I kept running out of skirts, and no matter how many I did, I just kept booking more and more. And it wasn't really until we got the idea that we need to figure out a way that can help other people to succeed.
Laying in bed one night, we were talking about, okay, what are we going to do? And we started a conversation about, don't you think there's probably other women that would want the same opportunity you've had to earn extra money while still having the freedom around their schedule to be a stay-at-home mom or take care of their kids?
It wasn't until I was doing a dress party / maxi skirt party, and I was in southern Utah, and Brittany, it was at her house.
Brittany Hunter was the very first LuLaRoe consultant.
So I met Deanne probably about 2 years before LuLaRoe even was anything, and she was so energetic. Oh my goodness, like I just had a baby. She was so excited for me to have a little girl and was just showing me all the dresses, super helpful, and she just brought this energy that you're like, okay, I wonder when she's gonna come back again. So that way you knew if she's gonna be here, you wanted to be there. I reached out to her probably sometime in October and I said, can I do my own and just do maxi skirts? No little girl dresses, no jeans, nothing. And she's like, absolutely, I'd love to. And that's kind of where it started, where I wanted more, because I'm like, my friends love it, I love it, and we did phenomenal. I literally took the couches out of my living room, put them in my master bedroom, and set up tables all over, because I was like, I want room for her to bring everything, because I knew she was gonna come with a lot of stuff. And she came and people were like lined up at my door. I'd never experienced that in my life, and I was so excited.
I brought all the maxi skirts at the time. I thought for sure everybody was coming for little girls' party dresses because it was early Christmas dresses. And instead, I think we sold 65 maxi skirts and maybe 12 dresses. And I went, uh-oh. The dresses are not as popular as the skirts are.
And I was like, that was awesome. And that's when I was like, I loved being at the party. I loved bringing people together. I loved her energy and her excitement. And I was like, I need to do this. This is gonna be amazing.
My brain just didn't connect until I'd driven an hour and a half down to St. George towards home. I get another call from Brittany that said, hey, where are you? I'm on my way, driving. Can I meet you in St. George? I know you stopped there for gas. And I said, yes, I'll wait for you. She said, well, I think I need another 25 more skirts. And I hurried and called Mark on the phone before she even got there. And I said, hey, do you think that we could sell her these skirts at wholesale? And Mark said, well, yes.
I met her at the Maverick gas station right at the Enoch exit. And she pulled in, her whole family was in the car. And she had the back of her Suburban or Denali, whatever it was, loaded with skirts. And she handed them to me. And I don't know if I had enough money at the time. And she said, Brittany, I trust you. You're gonna do amazing at this. And I paid for what I could. And she let me take the rest still. And I was like, oh my gosh, but it motivated me even more.
You have no idea the emotion that I saw come over Brittany. She wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but had the freedom to come and go and do what she wanted to do. And she said, Deanne, do you know that I literally talked to these women in a period of maybe 15 minutes? And they all just said, sure, I want to do it. And she started booking pop-ups. I then went to Salt Lake City, opened it up to people that were there, talked to Sandra Boucher, Kim Roylance, Nicole Neff, and it just started to snowball.
Jamie Bagley was the second LuLaRoe consultant.
So I was the second person to sign on, and which is so crazy to look back and think about now, like what the heck, we had no idea it was gonna be anything. At the time, Deanne told me that she wanted to have about 10 retailers around the country, and I said, well, okay, I'll be your like Midwestern girl, and she was like, okay, we're gonna do this, and so 10 retailers, it's so funny.
Kim and Doug Roylance have been with LuLaRoe since the beginning.
She only had a few, like 4 or 5 retailers, and I said to my daughter, you should do this, because I'm thinking then I can get some free skirts out of it. And I told my daughter I'd help her. And Doug and I had had some major financial difficulties. We had lost a lot more money than anybody would ever want to, and we were climbing out of a hole. So I went and did this party and came home, and I handed Doug $300 cash. He's like, what is this? And I said, this is what I just earned selling 30 skirts at this skirt party. And we looked at each other and said, you know what? This might be something we really want to look into doing, because it could change our trajectory financially.
Kelly Fott is a mentor with LuLaRoe.
I had been working for a financial planner for years, for 12 years, and my daughter looked over and she said, Mom, you know that lady, the owner of LuLaRoe, she's taking consultants. And I said, well, what does that even mean? And she said, well, she's hiring people. They're starting their own businesses and they're selling LuLaRoe. I was like, what? My ears perked up. I was like, okay, I'm gonna call her. And I can just remember thinking, this is just starting out. These are gonna, one day I'm gonna call these the old days. And we still are calling those the old days.
Lindsay Wheeler is a mentor with LuLaRoe.
I found out about LuLaRoe at a vendor event in our tiny little town. I had my booth all set up and I was so proud. I'd worked so hard on this. And the girl next to me had 1 rack of LuLaRoe. And we chatted afterwards. She wanted another piece of furniture. And then she asked me if I wanted to host a pop-up. And I was like, sure, I'd love to. So Ashley Lautaha came to my house and did a pop-up. I didn't know anything about the brand. No one in my area knew about it. And after that party, I wore some leggings the next day to downtown Seattle, and I had 100 people stop me. Where'd you get those? What are those? Where did those come from? And I was like, I could have sold 100 pair of these. And I was like, I could have sold 100 pair of these. And it just, the wheels started turning. I'm like, man, I wonder if I could do this. So I Googled LuLaRoe's phone number and I called, and Deanne answered the phone. And I was like, I can't believe I just got the owner of the company on the phone. So I talked to her, I thought about it one more day, and then I called and I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm gonna start LuLaRoe. LuLaRoe spoke for itself. All I had to do was introduce it to people. And one at a time, party after party, people were like, wow, what you do is amazing. I want to do what you do. I was all in from that first day in Ontario at the DoubleTree Hotel. I was all in with this business. I knew that not only was this special, but this was something that was going to change people's lives. It was more than just selling a skirt. It was more than just making $500 extra. There was this community and this movement, and you could feel it even there. It was like bubbling up at that time.
And so all at once, they were building this little business, and when they worked, they actually saw income, and they were like, oh my gosh, this actually works. And they began to share it, and people began to come. And in the beginning, they all came because they believed in what we were doing.
As we were getting things put into place, we thought, okay, how were we going to get things organized? We needed an accountant. We needed to get somebody in charge of shipping. We needed someone in charge of branding. Mark and I thought about the people that we wanted most to be involved were our kids. Mainly because they were all entrepreneurs, they all owned their own business, they knew what they wanted to do, and they knew that they could help us. We knew they could help us. We were way, way behind when it came to social media and branding.
There was a meeting that my mom and dad wanted to have with all the kids. And I remember that they invited us all over, and they pretty much laid it all out.
And then Mark started to write all the numbers in front of us of like, the business and how it was doing and what they were selling, and then also writing down all the needs of the business. Like, these are the things that we need in order to run this business. And it was like accounting, photography, social media, website, production, all these different things. And I remember my parents just saying, we want to present the opportunity to our kids first.
In the inside, my jaw was dropped in like, what? Are you kidding? This is crazy, that they did this. But on the outside, I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like, I was proud of them. And then they asked for our help. They wanted us to be a part of something that they were seeing success in. They didn't want it for themselves. Knowing now what that did for our family, it brought our family together. And it strengthened our bonds together. And the question I remember that's always stuck to me, that the business consultants asked my mom and dad, they're like, well, what's your exit strategy? What's your end game plan? Because so many entrepreneurs, so many business owners, they want to take it public, they want to build it up and sell it, And without a beat, they both looked at each other and they're like, death. Like, this is what we want to do for the rest of our life. They didn't say retirement. They didn't say anything. They said, the exit strategy is death. It's like when we're done. Because they want to leave a legacy on, not for themselves, for any family, retailer, anyone who wants to come and is attracted to this business can just be absorbed in the blessings that it will provide for all and more.
When Amelia came home and told me about it, she's like, you are not going to believe this. I was taken back, I was blown away. And I was like, hearing this story about Mark and Dan, how hard they're working and the things they're able to make happen, and the retailers and what they were doing, like, man, this story has to be shared, it has to be told. Like, people need to know this story.
And I definitely wanted a business where our kids could be involved, because then when Mark and I left this business, there would be a legacy for them in the future, and for anyone and everyone to have that same feeling when they came to be a part of LuLaRoe.
From the very beginning, my goal was to take everything off of the retailer's plate that we could handle. If there was a problem that they were going to face, and they were all going to face it, could we solve that problem so they didn't have to deal with it?
And a unique thing happened in that LuLaRoe allowed the business to run its own course. Rather than predetermining what that course would be, LuLaRoe very wisely said, you guys create your path, and we will allow that path to happen, and you create your business the way you want to, and we'll try to follow your lead. That creative way of letting our businesses evolve and grow is almost the secret sauce of LuLaRoe. Mm-hmm. It created the environment that created the growth.
And it really was scary. In the very, very beginning, I was just busy, crazy busy, getting fabric, getting it to Jose, getting them bag tagged, and getting them out to sell again. And pretty soon it started getting so busy that I'd start calling Mark. And I knew that Mark was working in in Hollywood and Santa Monica, and his way to get home he'd have to stop through Los Angeles.
Meanwhile, I was a concrete contractor, and I was working my business. I'd kind of taken on the responsibility of going downtown, buying fabric and getting it down to the sewers. And so I was already involved, but just kind of in a support role.
Came to me one day and he said, Deanne, I think that you're overwhelmed. I wanted to go, no kidding. I was like way overwhelmed and with a happy heart overwhelmed. I was so happy. I felt purposeful. I was so excited. And you know what? He came to me and said, Deanne, I've decided, I've thought about it, I prayed about it, and I've decided I'm going to turn over all my business to my brother, Kurt.
Our goal then became, how do we help our retailers find their best self?
What stood out to me was seeing how it was literally affecting each of these families' lives. What they were able to then do for their family, whether it was making more money, going on a trip, being able to pay for bills that they didn't know they could pay, just how much work these retailers were putting into it, and how much success they were finding through that hard work that they were doing.
The LuLaRoe community is full of women from all walks of life, all shapes, all sizes, all backgrounds, women who have been through huge challenges in their life, and it is the most inspiring community I've ever been around.
It's not, hey, this is what's best for me. It's all about what's best for the group itself.
We have people starting right now who are doing incredible things for their family. They are reaching their goals today, 5 years after LuLaRoe started.
What you are about to hear are lies. What she doesn't tell you is that she and all the other testimonials before now have been by people who got in early and are making huge bonuses off their downlines. They don't live off what they make in sales. They live lavish lifestyles on those bonus checks.
You didn't have to get in when it first started to be successful. You can start today and build an incredible business.
This retailer has been with LuLaRoe for about a year. Her results are not typical. There's a reason she's the only non-leader included in this video.
Oh, it was large, extra large tank top. That's what you put, right? Okay, we're on the hunt. Just under a year ago, I decided to join LuLaRoe. I had been a consumer for about 2 years and absolutely fell in love with the brand. Even though it's nothing that I went to school for, has nothing to do with my education, it's given me my purpose back. And it's a purpose that I didn't realize I had. It's given me a sense of community. It's built me friendships. It's helped me provide. It's not easy, but if you're passionate about the brand and you love what you do, it's not work. You know, if you had asked me 10 years ago if I'd be selling clothes, I would have told you were crazy.
I believe that LuLaRoe is the best small business opportunity that there is out there. I think I know LuLaRoe has created this vehicle for us to do whatever we want with it.
So in the 6 years that we've been in business, LuLaRoe not only has created opportunities for tens of thousands of retailers in the United States, but we've also created jobs across the world. We've created jobs in Guatemala, in China, in Vietnam, here in the US, in our production and manufacturing facilities.
We knew we wanted a business that would help others to succeed. And it wasn't going to be like what I did for 27 years, keeping it to myself. And so we thought from the very, very beginning, that's something we're going to encourage and challenge and lift everybody, and we will stand behind it, and we are firm on it because we want people to share it with each other. We want them to lift each other up, and we want them to become new friends and cheer each other on. To me, I want to see more people debt-free. I want to see more people that are independent financially, not being afraid to go after what they want. It astounds me every day. Every day. I mean, I look at this business and I look back and I think, wow, where have we come from and where we are today just gets me even more excited about the light years ahead of us. And we got to be ready because big things are happening. They will continue to happen by those that are part of this company. So it's exciting.